I want to say shalom to everybody, to those online. We are the brothers of the GOC Kansas City. Um, Today is going to be a little different than how we've been going about meeting. And today we're going to today's topic, let me start there, is maintaining our temples. So this is going to be kind of a health lesson. It's going to be tied to scripture as well. But I see health and disease and, you know, our bodies being attacked. And it's the one thing that we seem to not want to deal with and not want to address is the sickness that we as a people are having to deal with. And it's one of the curses that comes against us. Even when you go into Deuteronomy and you look at all of the curses in Deuteronomy, the disease that will come against us is in there as well. And ultimately, it comes down to in a big part to the fact that we still haven't come back to the law. A lot of the disease that we deal with is because of the way that we eat unclean. And there are some other things due to the times that we living in that even though we keep dietary laws, we still have to be aware of the things we eat because of the way that they have begun to produce our food. And so I want to kind of educate us on this topic just a little bit. It's something that is hard for people to dive off into if no one, starts that path. And so hopefully I can get some of us, and hopefully all of us, started down that path to eating and living a healthier life. All right. Let's start in scripture. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19 and 20. There's a few sayings that have stood the test of time. One by I don't normally quote Greek philosophers, but in this case, it applies. And a philosopher, or actually a doctor, a Greek doctor by the name of Hippocrates, he said, "Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine thy food." And nowadays, doctors, when they take the Hippocratic oath, it refers to Hippocrates. But they have gotten so far from that saying that he had, "Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine thy food." Nowadays we eat according to our desire, not necessarily for the health of our body. We don't eat according to what our bodies need. We eat according to what our minds tell us we want and what our taste buds have a tendency towards. But what I want to be able to do today is to show you the connection between what you eat and your health. Like another saying, you are what you eat. And that is so true. Because whatever you eat, it becomes what you are. So many diseases that we deal with are a result of the diet that we maintain. So go ahead and start at 1 Corinthians chapter 6, if you will.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of the Most High, and ye are not your own? Verse 20. For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify the Most High in your body and in your spirit, which are the Most High's.
Okay, so we see here it says, do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? All right, and it says, which is in you, which ye have of the Most High, and ye are not your own. So we have been given this responsibility of this temple or this body that we live in day to day. And housed within it, when we accept our Savior, and we fall under the righteous laws of the Most High, we house the Holy Spirit from on high. So, with that being said, we should be responsible enough to be good stewards of this home in which the Holy Spirit dwells in. And verse 20 says, "For ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify the Most High in your body and your spirit, which are the Most High's." So we come together week to week, and we deal with our spirit. Today, I wanted to take a little time out to deal with the body. Because what good are we to the whole body of Christ if we're bedridden, or if we're leaving the earth earlier than we should due to disease or decrepit lifestyles? All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. We're going to go to the beginning.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. And the Most High said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, of all the earth.
Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed. Continue.
Which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and that in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
Okay, so he says, I've given you every herb bearing seed, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Continue.
Verse 30. And to every beast of the earth.
Before you continue, when it says meat there, it specifically refers to food. In the Hebrew, it doesn't. The word that's there does not mean meat as in flesh. It means meat as in food to consume. All right. So it's talking about herbs and fruits from the tree and from a seed meant for our consumption. Continue.
Verse 30. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every herb for meat.
And so not only did he give us these things to eat, but he also gave it to the animals. Continue.
And verse 30. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so.
Go ahead.
Verse 31. And the Most High saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
Okay, so he was pleased with how he had set things up. Originally, we didn't eat meat. So you may see where I'm going here a little bit. But before I go there, I want to preface what I'm about to say with this. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with eating meats. But what I'm showing you is that initially, the Most High had set it up that we were to eat a vegetarian diet. And I'm going to go from here and to bring even further understanding of why. But I want you to know that it's not unlawful to eat clean meats. Okay? Where we stand today, it is not unlawful to eat flesh of an animal. But more often than not, it is healthier to. I see some hands going up. Brother?
Yeah, like when we began to eat meat, was that like I want to say like a punishment because we sinned?
We're going to go there. We're going to go there. Sister?
For clarity, it says in 29, for the human, the herb with the seed is okay, and the green herb without is meat for the beast.
let's see. And the Most High said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth. Is that what you're referring to, herb-bearing seed?
Yes.
All right, when it's saying herb-bearing seed, it means the plant, when it grows, it yields a seed, which can be replanted again to yield another plant. Or the seed itself can be fit for consumption to eat.
And then in 30, it says, and for the creeping things, every green herb, but it doesn't mention the seed part.
Let's see, it says,
So
and
does
to,
that distinguish which herb is for us and which herb is for the animals?
let's read verse 30. It says, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. It says every green herb. So even the green herbs that produce seed. Right, because you'll notice birds have a high diet of seeds. Okay, so it's not showing you a difference in between what the animal would eat versus what we would eat. All right, we clear so far? Okay, let's go to Genesis 3, chapter 21. So we see the Most High, He made the herb-bearing seeds for us to eat as meat, as well as for animals. So initially, we had a vegetarian diet. All right, let's go to Genesis 3 and 21.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 21. Unto Adam also and unto his wife did the Most High Power make coats of skin and clothed for them.
Okay, at this point, why was this done, Brother Danny?
Because they had enough to treat it naked.
Right. They had eaten from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and they recognized that they were naked. Right? So the Most High, He killed an animal, and the skin of that animal was used to cover them. All right? Now this is symbolic in many ways, because blood has always been the price of sin, which is why in the law they had the Day of Atonement and would sacrifice the goat or the lamb, which is why Christ had to sacrifice Himself, and His blood was for our sins. When they sinned, a sacrifice was needed. And we have to understand the whole, I don't want to say ritual, the whole exercise or the whole practice of a sacrifice. A sacrifice was not just killing an animal and then just letting it burn completely into consumption by the fire. It was eating the flesh of that animal. When we come together for our feast, we consume, especially on the Passover, we consume lamb, just as they did coming out of Egypt. That sacrifice of that lamb, it was sacrificed to the Most High on the fire, but we also consumed it. And the same thing happened here. When they had sinned and eaten from that tree that they were not supposed to eat from, the Most High sacrificed an animal, used the skin to cover them physically, and used the blood to cover them spiritually, and they ate meat. All right, so we see how we went from eating herb-bearing seeds to consuming meat. All right, and that answers your question, right, brother? Okay. All right, so from there, let's go to Leviticus chapter 11, verse 1. Whenever it is you want to find out about the clean and unclean animals, Leviticus chapter 11, clean and unclean meats, what we can eat and what we can't eat.
Leviticus chapter 11, verse 1. And the Most High spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Verse 3, Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is clove the foot, and chew the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat.
All right, so it says, Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. Can someone give me an example of an animal that chews the cud and cloven footed? Go ahead. Deer. Cow. Exactly. All right.
What is the? I know the hoof is the foot. And chewing of the cud. What is that?
All right. Have you ever seen like a cow out in the pasture or out in the field somewhere? I don't know. Most of us, a lot of us, we're in the city right now, so there could be some of us who've never seen a cow. My parents are from the South. I deal with, two worlds. I live in the city, but I grew up kind of like a country boy, so I'm familiar with a cow and seeing them out in the pasture. Those of you who have seen it, whether it be on TV or in reality, you'll see the cow just standing there and he's just chewing. He hadn't bent over to eat anything. You haven't seen him like actually consume anything. He's just out in the yard, and you just see him just chewing. What it is he's regurgitated something that he had ate earlier. That's called like cud. He's chewing the cud.
So the pig don't do that.
The pig don't do that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Say again. A chicken's a fowl. All of those animals we're going to address individually as we go through these clean and unclean animals. So when you see that cow out there just chewing, looking around, just chewing for hours, that's a part of his digestive system. Like I believe he has like 2 stomachs, and it's a process that it takes. It takes a long time for a cow to digest his food. He'll eat it initially, and he'll swallow it, and then he'll regurgitate it and chew it again, and then swallow it again. And it goes through like 2 different stomachs before his body has finished digesting the food. And that's part of what makes the animal clean to eat. Because if you were to eat something and it was to quickly go through your system, then the toxins and all of the things that would be detrimental to someone that was to eat that cow would still be in his system. But because the cow has such a slow digestive system and it takes so long for that process, he is detoxing himself through that process. That's what makes a cow clean. And see, a lot of times we don't understand why the Most High made laws initially, but we should keep them anyway, because he knows more than we do. Some of you may not have known the process that I just explained a minute ago. And you may have wondered, well, why does it matter if we eat an animal that chews the cud? Because it's for our own good. That animal chewing the cud, it makes the digestive process that much longer, giving him that much more time to cleanse himself. So that when we come and eat his meat after he's done all that, we're not consuming the toxins that he may have consumed. All right, so that's chewing the cud. Okay, continue.
Verse 4. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of
so
them.
First off, before we continue, he must chew the cud and be hoof-footed and cloven-footed. Both. It has to be both of those, pertaining to the foot and pertaining to chewing the cud.
What is a cloven-footed?
A cloven foot is like a deer. If you see a deer's foot, it's cloven, like it's segmented. It's a segmented hoof. Okay? All right, continue.
Verse 4. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel.
Okay, so it's making a distinction here. It's saying, do not eat them that only chews the cud, and doesn't have the cloven hoof, and do not eat of them who only has the cloven hoof but does not chew the cud, as the camel. Continue.
As the camel, because he cheweth the cud.
He cheweth the cud, but
divideth not the hoof.
His hoof is not divided. When you look at a camel's foot, it kind of looks like a paw, like a cushioned paw. It's padded, yeah. So it's not a cloven hoof. So that puts him in an unclean category. All right, does that make sense? Yeah. Because he doesn't fulfill chewing the cud and cloven footed.
Okay, I don't doubt that, but what's the distinction on him having a cloven paw? Like,
what reason is the why does it have to be a cloven paw?
Right.
I can't answer that. I don't know. Like, I can't give a logical explanation like I could for the cud concerning the hoof or the foot. I think in time maybe the Most High reveal that to me or to someone, and we can share that. But to say I know right now, I don't know why. All right. Continue. Was there another question? Okay. Go ahead.
Let's see. It says, he is unclean unto you. Verse 5. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean unto you.
That's a rabbit. You know, when you see a rabbit, you know, he's chewing it. He chews the cud too. But he's got a paw. You can't eat rabbit. And many people from the South eat rabbit. I grew up eating rabbit. At a young age, we used to eat rabbit. My dad was a hunter, and he would hunt rabbit because he was from the South. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be clothed-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you.
And so we know a swine, which is what most of us are most familiar with concerning unclean things. He'll eat anything. And he doesn't have the detox process for a pig. He doesn't have one. A pig is full of toxin and disease and parasites. Everything that we should not have within our system. Matter of fact, a pig is so filthy that it has its own sewage line. There's a duct that runs down the inside of a pig's rear legs that just oozes out pus and infection. That may pertain to the hoof. The question you were asking, because a pig is hoofed and cloven footed, but he doesn't chew the cud. He eats anything, and he doesn't sweat, which is a way to detox. A pig doesn't have sweat glands, and his digestive system is a lot quicker than a cow. All right, continue.
And the swine, though he divided the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Verse 8, of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch, they are unclean to you. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever have fins.
So now we're moving from things that walk on earth. We're moving to the animals in the water. Go ahead.
These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the sea, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat.
So we see it says fins and scales. Just like it said cud and cloven foot. It has to have both of these. All right? You're talking about tilapia. It's got skins and scales. I mean, it has fins and scales. Buffalo, tuna, salmon. Tuna has both. No, tuna doesn't have skin. Tuna got scales. Yeah. Yeah, they have scales. Tuna has scales. You had? No, tuna has scales. Tuna has scales. Matter of fact, when you get a chance, Google it and look it up. Catfish That's when you're looking at skin. And it doesn't have scales. It has fins, but it doesn't have scales. And where's a catfish live? He live at the bottom of whatever body of water he's in, and he's eating everything that's starting to decompose. Same thing with crabs. Same thing with lobster. They all live on the bottom of the ocean. They the pig of the sea.
Yeah, shrimp, or they like, they is the exact same thing as roaches. Yeah.
They are in the same family.
They in the same family as roaches.
Shrimp. Yep, they in the same family as a roach.
Just underwater.
You know what? I was looking at one of the first shops the other day. I was like, I don't know they really so ugly. Like, a lot of people really ugly.
Shrimp? Yeah. Yeah, they ugly. Yeah. Well, it make you think, who was the first person that decided I'm gonna eat one of those? Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Verse 10. And all that have not fins and scales in the sea and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you.
Octopus, no matter what it is. If it doesn't have fins and scales, leave it alone. Go ahead.
Verse 11. They shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcass in abomination.
So it's an abomination to eat of these things. Go ahead.
Whatsoever have no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls.
All right, referring to the chicken. Here go the fowls. Go ahead. These are the abominations concerning birds. Go ahead.
They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle and the ossifrage and the osprey. Verse 14. And the vulture and the kite after this kind.
After his kind. These are basically birds of prey. The ones we've read so far and the ones we're about to read, they're all like birds of prey and vultures. Continue.
Verse 15. Every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and great owl, and the swan.
And when you see swine, duck is under the same family as a swine. So we're not to eat duck. Go ahead.
And the pelican, and the gear eagle, and the stark, the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. All fowls that creep going upon all fours shall be an abomination unto you.
It's a heron. It's just a different type of bird. Yeah, it's just another kind of bird. It has, if I remember it correctly, it has like long, skinny legs, and it's kind of similar to a stork. Go ahead.
Okay, verse 20. All fowls that creep, going upon all fours, shall be an abomination unto you. Yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing that goeth upon all fours, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth.
So when you think of a chicken, like you'll see a chicken, like how it can leap. Like if it's on a fence and it'll jump off, or it may jump up on a fence, or however you may see a chicken when it's in a leaping action. Its feet are beneath him, and he can jump and leap. Does that make sense? Go ahead.
Verse 22. Even these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind.
And you'll see in the New Testament that was the diet that John the Baptist, that was his diet, because he had taken the Nazarite vow, locusts and honey. He ate bugs that were clean. And see, that's one thing we're not so familiar with because we don't eat bugs. No, we don't really get down like that. But in all honesty, locusts and these bugs they're high in protein, and they're clean for us to eat. Grasshoppers and beetles. But because we're so unfamiliar with that, we don't really get down like that. But in a case where we may need something to eat, this is good to know and good to remember. And like I said, that was the diet of John the Baptist. All right, where'd you leave off?
Verse 23.
We're gonna finish with 23.
Verse 23. But all other flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you.
Okay, jump to 45.
Verse 45. For I am the Most High that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt, to be your power. Ye shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law.
So he says, after going through all these things that are fit to eat and unfit to eat, he says, for I am the Lord that bringeth you out of the land of Egypt, to be your power. Ye shall therefore be holy. So eating these unclean things makes you unclean. And it takes you away from being set apart and being holy. He said, I'm holy, so ye should be holy as well. Continue.
Verse 46. This is the law of the beast and of the fowl and every living creature that moveth in the waters and every creature that creepeth upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten.
All right, so this was to set a difference between what was okay to eat and what was not okay to eat. So I went here to show that it's okay to eat meat. It's acceptable to eat meat. But where I'm going from here is going to show you that meat, especially today, is detrimental to us. All right. There was a video I was looking at, and it was showing how it was showing the Chinese and like the 1970s, and it compared them, the Chinese, to us. The difference between the Chinese and us was that we had a much higher meat-based diet. They hardly dealt with meat or with dairy around the 1970s. For one, because usually meat it costs more to consume meat, and in the 70s, the Chinese nation, they didn't have the money to spend on such things. So they compared these two countries, and they noticed that Americans were 12 times more likely to have experienced heart disease than China was. And in this study, they ran it back to the fact that America was consuming so much more meat and dairy products than them. And they also looked at New Guinea, who had a less experience with eating meat, and they didn't have any signs of heart disease. Whereas here in America, that's one of the leading causes of death, one of the leading diseases that we deal with. All right?
Is it because of the unclean meat that we eat, or just the meat in general?
It's a combination. Like, for one, the meat that we eat is so contaminated. Like, it's juiced up with bovine growth hormone. It's juiced up with antibiotics, which is bad for our consumption. The animals that are industrialized for food are not out in a pasture roaming around, living like a cow is supposed to. It's caged up being prepared, being fed corn, which is genetically modified, and it's just sitting there all day eating. You know, the animals that we eat are in conditions that deal with their mental, which stimulates hormones in their body and stimulates chemical reactions in their body that taint the meat when it comes to us to eat it. The way that they're slaughtered, like when they go to slaughter, it's a fear-inducing activity. And so in the midst of that fear, it's releasing all kind of chemical reactions in their body to protect them. But those chemical reactions are in the meat when we eat it, which is bad for us. So it's one thing to have a side of beef that was raised by Farmer Joe versus a side of beef that you done got out of any particular grocery store. Yeah. Not to mention, they put dye in the meat to make it look like it's fresher than it is. They package it with carbon monoxide to make it keep its color. So we got all these things that we deal with before we even get to the meat. From the meat coming from where it was made to our table and to our mouth. On top of that, we eat so much more meat than our bodies is meant to eat, that even if we had the cleanest animals, we still overconsume it. Our body is not set up, our digestive system is not set up to overcome how much animal-based foods we eat. Oftentimes, you may see someone, and my wife deals, well, I'll use a specific example. I believe it was James Brown when he passed, they talked about how compacted his stomach was. It was full of undigested meat. They talked about how he loved to eat steak. I hate to pull up a name like that, but that's somebody everybody's familiar with. His stomach, when you see these guys with these big, hard stomachs, it's undigested meat and undigested food that just sits there, and they continue to stack onto it and continue to stack onto it, which leads to heart disease, pulmonary disease, high blood pressure, all of the things that follow. Diabetes, cancer, big time. So what I'm saying is, it's okay to eat meat. It should not be the greatest portion of your diet. And it should be as clean as you can get it. All right?
So how did they do the meat cutting things back in the day before they had machines and lined them up and stuff?
All right, I witnessed this when I was in the Middle East. I was over there for one of their holy days, and I saw them bringing lambs out and everything, And what they would do was, first off, they brought them out. We were in the kind of the city area. They would bring them from the pastures. They would bring them into the city, and they would bring it in among everybody. And the animal is used to being with these people because the person is their shepherd or whatever. So he's not afraid of them, and they would just cut his throat. So it wasn't a fearful thing because he didn't know it was coming. And then they would bleed it out, and then they would cut it up like a butcher would do, and then they would set to eat it. So that's the biggest difference right there. Whereas you going through a packing house and it's just fear all within the place. You hearing camels being slaughtered. Cows being slaughtered. They being prodded and poked and electrocuted to move on down the line. And see, I ain't even go into how unclean it is in the packing house. Or mice getting caught up in the ground beef and all of these things. So yeah, that's a major difference. And like they call the standard American diet, they call it the SAD diet. Standard being the S, American being the A, and the D being the diet. It's a sad diet because the way that we eat. Most of our plate, if it's not majority meat, then we feel like we haven't eaten. But the majority of our plate should be vegetables. That's where we really get what our body needs to continue functioning, to continue our immune system working accurately to fight off disease.
Mm-hmm. I heard well, you see on the news, and sometimes I just heard that some of the vegetables
Yeah, we're gonna get to that too.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to that too.
So when they package meat, like from a cow,
Mm-hmm.
make ground beef, is it just one cow or is it a bunch of compact cows mixed together? Because you were talking about how mice would get caught up
in the grinder.
Process.
Yeah, like you get a package of meat, it's probably not just one cow.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's multiple cows in multiple parts of the cow.
Mm-hmm.
Usually
what you'll have, you'll have, say for instance, a table from here to this, from one wall to another wall, and you got people on the side, and they just, as they cut, they throwing it in this grinder. So, mm-hmm.
So it's cheaper for them to rather mix them all up than make
Mm-hmm.
one.
It's about money. It's not a matter of health.
Yeah.
All right. One other story I want to relay is in the same video that I was watching. The matter of fact, the movie is called Forks Over Knives for anybody who wants to see it.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably watch it on YouTube. What was you about to say? You can probably find it on YouTube for free. It's called Forks Over Knives. And the meaning of that is, you can eat vegetables with a fork. It take a knife to eat meat. So it's saying forks rather than knives. Forks over knives. And they had went back into like the 1939 to be exact. It was during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Germany had occupied Norway. And when they did that, they also took control of all of their animals to feed the soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that lived in Norway, they didn't have access to the meat products anymore. Well, what they noticed was when they did that is that the people of Norway, their cause of death from circulatory issues, and when I say circulatory, that means the heart, the lungs, everything as far as when your blood is circulating through your body. Mm-hmm. They noticed a rapid decline in morbidity rates concerning the heart, because this meat had just instantly been taken away from them. Mm-hmm. After Germany had pulled out and they were able to carry on as they did before, they noticed that the numbers went back up. Mm-hmm. So, there's many of studies that have been done. There's many of documentaries that have been done on it. It's not hard to find them. That points to the fact that these meats can be so detrimental. Mm-hmm. Let's go. Let's get back in the Bible. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Verse 12.
First Corinthians chapter 6, verse 12. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any.
All right. So even though, as we looked in Leviticus, we see that it is lawful to eat clean meats. Mm-hmm. He says, even though that things are lawful, that doesn't mean that it's expedient. It doesn't mean that it's in my best interest. Mm-hmm. All right. So just because there's nothing wrong with consuming, like the scripture doesn't say that you should not overconsume meat, that doesn't mean it's in your best interest. So with what I'm saying, I don't want people to walk away from this thinking that I'm teaching that it's not okay to eat meat according to the Most High, because that's not true. Mm-hmm. It's okay to eat meat. Matter of fact, that was an issue that it came about in the New Testament, and that some felt it was not okay to eat meat, that you should only eat herbs. And Paul had to address that. I'm not teaching that. It's okay to eat meat. But what I am teaching is what the result of over consuming meat, what its result is. And I'm also sharing with my people what they are doing to these meats, so that you can walk away from this and be an informed consumer and make an informed decision. And hopefully you can take from where I'm leaving off and look into it more yourself. All right. Speaking about, the brother had mentioned a minute ago that the vegetables have issues as well. And it's true. Many vegetables, I mean, we live in the world of Satan. So he's a devourer. So what is he going to do? He's going to find out a way to devour. The leading company that's leading the way in the deterioration of our vegetables and things like that is a company by the name of Monsanto. You've probably heard me speak of them before. There's a documentary about them as well. There's quite a few, actually, on YouTube. Just Google Monsanto. That's all you got to do, and you'll find them. Monsanto documentary, and you'll find them. What Monsanto is, everybody's heard of Roundup, right? All right. They were a chemical company initially. They made Roundup and other things such as that to kill off weeds. They initially claimed that Roundup was not detrimental to the environment. Come to find out it was. So they had to take that off of their label. What they did that really shot them into the food production was they began to genetically modify. When I say GMO, I'm talking about a genetically modified organism. That's what GMO stands for. They began to genetically modify soybeans. Soybeans are in just about anything you buy that's packaged. It's not hard to find soy. So they began to genetically modify soybeans. They kind of look like, if you've heard of edamame, that's what a soybean is. It's like a big, when you open up a green bean, it looks like a big seed in a green bean. So they started genetically modifying soybeans so that you could spray Roundup on your field of soy, and it wouldn't kill the soybean, but it would kill all of the weeds and anything that might grow up besides soybean. So they genetically put into the DNA of soybeans something that made it able to withstand the Roundup spray. So now this soybean is no longer a soybean. It's something entirely different. However, to you and us, it looks like a soybean, it tastes like a soybean, and you can do with it everything else that you could do to a soybean. Now, those who are familiar with Enoch understand that this is what the angels did when they came from heaven. And when they came and they started to take the women of men. They began to do something that was called cutting of roots and divination. They started splicing animals and DNA. It's the same thing. That's why when Christ said, when the disciples asked him what to look for before his return, he said it will be like the days of Noah. The days of Noah. Prior to Noah, the Nephilim and the giants, they were doing all these corrupt things. They were corrupting the creation of the Most High. It's the same thing we deal with today. We're living in the days of Noah. So concerning Monsanto, they found out that when you splice this bean in this particular way, then you don't have to buy people. I mean, you don't have to pay for people to go out and tend to the field, picking out the weeds. You don't have to pay people to go out there and pick the soybeans, because now there's nothing but soybean out there. You take your machine and it just, it harvested itself. So farmers begin to save money doing this. And the biggest thing about Monsanto is, matter of fact, I should have looked into this more so I could present it. not too long ago, Obama signed a Monsanto bill saying that any product that had a GMO in it does not have to be on the label of the product. The president, the name of the bill was Monsanto bill. And not only did it say that, but it said whatever repercussions, if we come to find out in the future that genetically modified organisms cause any harm, Monsanto is not responsible for it. That's what's in the bill. Obama signed this. Back to the soybean. It has become, once it's been genetically modified, it's a carcinogenic. It causes cancer. So people wonder why cancer is running so rampant today. This is why. We got all these genetically modified organisms in everything that we eat. I know what I'm teaching right now sounds like a downer, but we're gonna get to the upper. But I want to let y'all know what we're dealing with first. All right? Just like so keep your heads up and keep your spirits up. We're dealing with the Most High here, all right? Yeah. All right. Yeah, brother.
Just like knowing what Satan is doing, we got to know what his
Verse 12, it says all things are lawful. And here this chapter is used a lot with regards to the law of the land and the law of the Most High. So I was trying to ask, how do we know which he's talking about?
This word lawful here, that exact word is used in multiple instances. It basically means permission. Though you have permission, though you have the right. It's not referring, but in the same breath, the word also sometimes being used in the scripture is referring to the law of the land. And in other times it's referring to the law of the Most High. So whichever way it's meaning in this scripture, whether it's saying it's okay according to the law of the Most High, whether it's saying you have the right to do it, or whether it's saying it's okay according to the law of the land, is kind of irrelevant in this scripture, because whichever meaning it means, it's saying it's okay for you to do it. But even though it is okay for you to do it, it may not be in your best interest.
Right.
Use common sense. And what I'm trying to do is to share some common sense that's not being shared. Okay? And so on top of the soybean, Monsanto also has taken, so before I leave the soybean, every soybean that we deal with today is a GMO. Unless it says non-GMO, it's GMO all the way across the board. They had so much success with that it became the seed that everybody used. And then they patented the seed.
Oh, yeah, so you can't, farmers can't use the ones they saved from last year.
No.
They gotta buy something.
And see, the thing is, what they've done to the seed is, when you plant it, it's only a one generational seed. You can't take a seed from the seed you planted and plant it again. It won't grow. So they have taken control of the food industry is what they're trying to do.
Which takes us back to the very thing you said initially.
The herb-bearing seed. They have changed what the Most High has put into order. They took that order out of it. Because even we bear fruit of the same kind. If we come together, we have children. Same thing with the plant world. But not with this genetically modified organism. That's why I tell you it's not the same thing. Same thing with corn. Anytime you see corn in a product or corn on the cob, it's genetically modified. Sometimes I eat genetically modified corn, but I do it at least knowing what I'm doing. I try not to. More than not, I look for organic corn. If you see non-GMO or organic, it's not a GMO. It would say it on the package, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Non-GMO or organic. That's what you want to look for when you're shopping for your vegetables. You want to look for organic vegetables. Yes.
But with so much of the, I would say, the corruption,
Mm-hmm.
how can you trust that if you don't know what yourself?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Because we could find out 5, 10 years from now that the organic wasn't really organic.
Mm-hmm. Or you can find out a year from now, and if it don't produce any seed to reproduce itself, then you know it ain't. It's a GMO.
Go ahead, brother.
But I actually saw it's a documentary called GMO Go-Go, and it's in cartoon form, but it was so,
Informational.
like a documentary. So I
Mm.
watched it, and it was like the whole thing about the Monsanto thing, but they wouldn't say the name.
Mm.
It was like a trick. It was like it's companies, but it was like
It wouldn't say the name. Mm-hmm.
And then, but it's saying cross pollination.
Pollination. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not their pollen. So like they'll do it and say it's not them, but since you're using their product now, then you have to pay for it.
That's another thing. That's a very good point, brother.
Mm-hmm.
The cross pollination is if you plant a seed of, say, soybean or whatever, they've modified this thing to where, let's say I'm Farmer Joe, this is Farmer Bill. I got my field of corn or my field of soy right here. It's all genetically modified.
Mm-hmm.
His is all clean and organic.
Mm-hmm.
But if the wind blows my pollen over into his field, it'll start growing the GMO.
Wow.
And if Monsanto comes to your farm and finds that they have some of their seed planted in your field, then they sue. That was a part of their plan.
Mm.
They force farmers to buy their seed by surrounding a farmer who's not buying their seed with farmers who are buying it, and they know that it's going to become cross-pollinized. And so now because they have patented their seeds, they can take this farmer to court and say he has stolen a product of ours and he won't pay us for it.
Mm.
And what this seed does is it's like a weed. It takes over their farm.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see the corn that is genetically modified, it's mutated. Like people who are into agriculture, they can look at a corn stalk that's been mutated. It may have 2 or 3 ears of corn on one stock when it's only supposed to have 1. Or you will see the growth of the kernels of corn looking all kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're dealing with. Did we read 1 Corinthians chapter 3?
Oh, no, we're not.
Let's go there. Let's get back in the scripture. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 3.
Will we finish with the other one? 16,
Yeah.
17? Okay.
Chapter 3, verse 16.
First Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High, and that the Spirit of the Most High dwelleth in you? Verse 17. If any man defile the temple of the Most High, him shall the Most High destroy. For the temple of the Most High is holy, which temple ye are.
All right. So we as a people continue to deteriorate because of the choices we make concerning our diets. Mm-hmm. And we're paying for it. Mm-hmm. Most of us just don't know any better, though. But if we know who we are and who our ancestors were, we understand that they also had a certain dietary regimen. And as we begin to recognize who we are as a people again, we have to recognize some of the things that our people did that made us strong. So let's go to Daniel, chapter 1, verse 8.
Okay.
I got so much I want to get to. I hope we don't run out of time.
2.6.
Because I want to give y'all the upper before we get out of here today. So it's not a downer message.
Daniel chapter 1, verse 8. But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the Enoch that he might not defile himself.
So Daniel had been taken captive under Babylon, and the king had set aside some of the Hebrew boys to receive a special diet of king's meat and of the king's diet. And, you know, a king had access to whatever he wanted, so he overconsumed. And Daniel's like, he did not want to defile himself in that way. Let's jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. Prove thy servant, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us plus to eat and water to drink. Verse 13. Then let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servant. Okay,
so he's saying to him, please don't be offended. Give me this liberty to not eat what you want to serve us, and give us 10 days of eating different than those who you give the king's meat, and then come back and look at us, and you'll see the difference between us. And so what this resulted in was Daniel basically having a diet of water and fruits and vegetables. All right, and it was an obvious difference when they came back and saw the Hebrew boys versus those who consumed the king's meat. And now oftentimes you'll hear people refer to the fact that they may be fasting. They say, I'm doing a Daniel fast. And usually what that is that they're drinking water or maybe juice and sticking to like raw and cooked vegetables and fruits. Okay. So what I want to emphasize here is water and vegetables are so key to our life, but yet it's the most underutilized thing. Like we see Daniel here, and he proved it. When you have a king who's willing to feed you, he has access to whatever he wants, and he's like, well, let me give y'all all this meat, wine, and so forth, the king's meat, versus Daniel saying, no, let us abstain from that, and let me show you a better way of doing it, and then come back and compare us. And they noticed the difference. I bet the other brothers probably put on a couple gut pounds, and their continence, they may have started breaking out in their skin, trying to detox from whatever it is they're going through. It's so much points back to our diet. Acne, most of the time acne and breakouts is due to your body trying to get rid of what you put in it. Our skin is one of the biggest organs to eliminate toxin out of. So when you start getting these bumps popping up here and there, rashes and so forth, it's because your body is detoxing. My wife, matter of fact, now is doing a detox, and she had a rash come out on her neck. It's because her body is trying to push these things out. All right? So this was the fast that you may hear someone refer to when they're talking about the Daniel's fast. The Daniel's fast is a good fast for anyone who has never fasted before, but would like to fast not only for health reasons, but for spiritual reasons. To deny yourself for a period of time of any meats, any sugary things, pop, and all those things, and just stick to some fruits and vegetables and some water and some real juice, not grape drink, and some real juices like naked juice, or even I brought in a juicer so that I could, we could even do some juicing today, and everybody can sample some real live juice. All right. One thing that we underconsume is water. A person should drink about 2.5 liters of water per day. So that's 2 liter. You know how you see the liter of pop bottle? That's 2 of those and a half. Or like you see a gallon of milk. It's a gallon of milk is a little more than 2.5 liters of water. And oftentimes we are definitely a dehydrated nation. And oftentimes we assume that we're hungry, but what it really is when we have those hunger, like we feel like we're hungry, it's not that we're hungry, it's that we're dehydrated. And what your body is really asking for is water. But instead of drinking water, we get something to eat. And now we're over consuming, we're gaining weight because we're not hungry. We just feel some kind of urge. But what your body's really telling you to do is drink some water. All right? And it's important that we good clean water.
Yeah.
Which means you have to go to the store and buy you some reverse osmosis water. All right? Write that down. Yes, sister.
Is Naked Juice a brand name?
Yeah, it's a brand name. Naked Juice.
You say reverse what?
Reverse osmosis. OSMOSIS.
Is this pure water? Is that reverse osmosis water?
I don't know. I don't think it is. This is spring water.
Yeah.
And spring waters are good too, but you got to do your research on some of the companies because sometimes they'll call it spring when it's not.
Yeah.
Say again? Yeah. Yeah. Reverse osmosis water. Yeah, they are. No, the water that you use for. No, not that. What you use for the foot baths. Distilled water is also another one. Reverse osmosis is better than distilled. Right. If you're not eating well enough and getting enough vitamins and minerals in your diet, distilled water will suck what you have out of you. But it doesn't have fluoride in it and all those other chemicals. Reverse osmosis is the best. All right. Spring water is good too. But reverse osmosis is best.
So where will we find it?
You can go to Price Chopper, any grocery store. You just look on the label, and like we get the gallon size water, and they're usually whenever you go somewhere, a grocery store, they usually have the same name brand, but it'll have a label that might be dark blue and a label that's light blue. One of them is reverse osmosis, the other is distilled. And it's usually in the gallon jugs. You can go to certain places, like I've been storing water. I go to Whole Foods, and they have 5-gallon containers, and you can fill it up. They have a little thing you can put it in. You can fill it up with reverse osmosis water, and it's like 79 cents a gallon. But you know the container that I buy is like $15. But I'm using that to store my water. And the container, make sure if you plan on storing water or anything like that, make sure the container is BPA free. Because if it's not, write that down. BPA free. Because if it's not, over time, the chemicals from the plastic will start to leak into the water, which can cause cancer as well. That's why the bottles that I buy cost what they cost, because they're BPA free.
Don't use those milk cartons.
Um,
They're the worst of them.
Look on the bottom.
Yeah, you look on the bottom. I'm not sure, brother. I'm not sure. But you see the little triangle on the bottom of the plastic? I forget which one. What is it? Do you know what initials to look for to make sure it's not BPA?
It'll say BPA.
Okay. But some of them, sometimes certain initials mean it's BPA free too, and it won't say BPA free. I'll Google it.
A or something in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with an A. I'm not sure, but that's something y'all can look into as well.
Yeah.
So when it comes to drinking stuff, how do you go about drinking milk?
I don't drink milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I drink the kind of milk, like my son has never had animal milk. I don't think my daughter has either.
Mm-hmm.
We brought them up on almond milk, and it's very similar texture and taste, but when you get used to it, you prefer it over cow milk because they pump the cows full of estrogen to keep them, because a cow only has milk when it's pregnant, because it's preparing to feed its child.
Mm-hmm.
And so these cows you can't have a cow always pregnant so you can have milk. So what they do is they give it a hormone to make the cow's anatomy think that it's pregnant, and that's how they keep them milk induced. Well, you're going to get those hormones in your milk, which is a whole nother thing that would send me on a tangent about all this homosexuality going on.
Yeah.
They putting stuff in food and in certain things that's putting estrogen in men and in people who consume it, making them feel feminine. But that's another thing. I need to finish what I'm on right now. I got to get to the upper. I can't stay on the downer. I got to get to the upper of this lesson.
Okay.
A good sign to know if you're hydrated or not is your urine. If it's not clear, it should be clear. If it's not, you're dehydrated.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So back on the juice thing, I have some carrots and apples, and like carrots, a carrot is a really good vegetable to consume to supplement the vitamins and nutrients that you're not getting, as well as apples. And it's something about the mixture of those two that will cause your body to detox. It'll go in on a cellular level and begin to push out the toxins in your body. And what happens when you begin to detox is all the toxins that have been stored up in your body on a cellular level, they go through your blood system and they move to your kidneys, or excuse me, your liver, because your liver cleans your blood. And so now these toxins, if you're doing a detox, these toxins are stored in your liver because you flooded your liver because your body has been so toxified. So that leads me to the next point I wanted to bring up today. When you're doing a detox, it's good to do what they call a coffee enema. Now, I know y'all are familiar with an enema. And what I'm saying is that coffee, rather than water, will stimulate your liver to the point that it opens up the caffeine in coffee, it opens up the ducts and all of the storage in your liver to release those toxins. So then when you go to the bathroom, it all comes out. Because if you don't get it out of your system, it's going to deteriorate your body. You're going to feel sick. All right? Tired. So if you're doing a cleanse and you're feeling like, man, why am I getting sick? First off, there is a healing reaction that you get. Like when you start cleansing yourself, your body will react to those toxins, and you may get like a rash, like I said before, or you may feel like you have a cold, or you may feel like if you've given up smoking, you may start smelling like smoke. Or if you've given up alcohol, you may feel a little drunk because your body's pushing out the where those things had hid in your body. All right, so that's why it's good to do what's called a coffee enema, and there's specifics on that. I'm just touching on some things. If anybody's more interested, maybe we can have a part 2 to this lesson. Yes.
So you drink the coffee?
No, it's an enema. It goes the other way.
Drink a certain coffee and then it'll do the trick.
No, it's organic coffee. You get organic coffee, and it goes up the other way.
Where you get that?
You can get organic coffee at any Whole Food store, place stores that deal in organic food. Hy-Vee is moving into organic a lot. Costco has a lot of organic food. We get an organic egg. You can get 2 dozen organic eggs for like $6. That's a good price.
Yeah.
All the frozen vegetables at Costco are all organic. They have organic meats at Costco. I know you got to buy the membership, but that's another thing that I want to address. Oftentimes people say it costs too much to buy these foods, but you have to recognize if your food is your medicine, then you're not just buying food, you're also buying medicine. Would you rather be buying cheap food and paying for these prescriptions? Or would you rather be getting your medicine and food all in one, buying organic? Because if you get sick, you're going to be paying a lot more than you're paying to get quality food. Prevention. Exactly, sister. Prevention. All right. I have a couple of things I want to address, like labels, reading labels. We have Cheetos and we have cheese puffs. All right.
I'll take Cheetos.
Everybody's familiar with Cheetos, right? What does this say? Can y'all read this? Can you read it for me, brother? Non-GMO.
Non-GMO, made with non-GMO ingredients.
Okay. For those online, I got these from Nature's Pantry in Independence, but you can probably get them at Whole Foods. Hy-Vee has
Walmart has them too.
Walmart has them.
Yeah.
Okay. See, it's becoming a market because people are becoming more aware of organic food, and so it's becoming desirable more. But that's another thing. You won't see it in the city. They don't provide us with organic food. We got to go out into where Esau is to get good food. They call the city a food desert because all you got is fast food, corner stores, but it's not. That's not food. That's why it's called a food desert. All right. I want to compare some of these labels. I want to teach you all what to look for when buying foods. Like, I presented these because everybody, I mean, especially starting into changing your diet, a lot of people aren't used to just eating vegetables and stuff like that. I want to show you that there's alternatives. You know what I'm saying? If you like Cheetos, there's an alternative. It's better to eat straight fruits and vegetables and drink water. But to be real with you, sometimes I don't eat just straight vegetables, and I want some Cheetos because I'm used to it. I'm at the point now that all I drink is water and juice. I haven't drank pop in years. Pop is nothing but sugar. And sugar kills the immune system. It's probably been, as long as I've known my wife, I haven't had sugar. She's the one that helped me to being healthy. So, but let's get into these labels. And I'm going to start a list. If somebody could, please start a list with everybody's email, name and number, last and first name, and telephone number. Because I want to send an email, because I want to send out this email that I have concerning what to look for when you're reading labels. Baby, could you start juicing for me? Because we're approaching a time. All right. These Cheetos were 2 for $5. These cheese puffs were, how much were these? The cheese puffs were $3. So you got $2.50 and you got $3. 50-cent difference for a much better product. All right. Go ahead and read the ingredients on there.
Let's see here. The ingredients: non-GMO yellow cornmeal, non-GMO expeller, pressed high oleic, that is canola, sunflower, or safflower oil. Safflower oil. Cheddar cheese, pasteurized milk, salt.
And notice next to the pasteurized milk, it has a symbol. And when you look at the symbol and you go down to see what the symbol means, and what does it say next to that symbol?
It says RBGH/RBST, free.
RBGH is bovine growth hormone. So the milk that they used in making these is bovine growth hormone free. You don't have to worry about the hormones that they pumping in cows, the milk that they produce being in this product. Go ahead.
Okay. It says salt, cheese culture, natural enzymes, whey milk, buttermilk, salt, butter, soy oil, soybean oil, bell pepper, blue cheese, pasteurized milk, salt, cheese culture, natural enzymes, onions, jalapenos, garlic, lactated acid, and annatto and paprika extract.
Okay. Is everybody familiar with everything he just read? You recognize most of those ingredients? There may have been one or two that you weren't familiar with, but everything else was something that you were familiar with, right? Anjanae, can you pass a napkin out to everybody? I want them to try these.
What was that?
Oh, RBGH and RBST. All right. Do we have a list going around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Brother, if you would, get you some and pass them on. That's okay.
Okay.
All right. And let's get to these Cheetos.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Ingredients. Enriched cornmeal.
All right. So let's look at that one initially. Enriched cornmeal.
Okay.
Okay. The corn is GMO. And on top of that, it's enriched. When you see something that says enriched wheat, enriched corn, enriched anything, it's not good for you. Okay. Wheat is already one of those grains that should be avoided. But the key word to watch out for is enriched. That means niacin, thiamine, riboflavin, folic acid, and iron are added after these, and other key nutrients are stripped out in the first place during the refining process. That applies to whether it's wheat, rye, or other grains, which corn is a grain. Enriched flour is really just refined flour that has had a few nutrients re-added to it, but not enough to make any food made from this nutritionally worthy. I don't know if you've seen the video of the enriched cornflakes. What he does is he takes their iron-enriched cornflakes. He takes them, pours them over in a blender with some water, and he blends it up. He pours it out into a plastic bag, and he takes a magnet to it. And he puts the magnet on top of like the Ziploc bag, and you see these black particles come up to it. And he moves the magnet across the bag, and these black particles are following it. They done added iron flakes into it so that they could say it's iron enriched.
Yeah, it's iron enriched.
We're not supposed to eat iron flakes. That's not the kind of iron we're supposed to have. No, and on the I'm referring to, yeah. Matter of fact, yeah, this has enriched corn in it. So when you see enriched, they make it sound like it's a good thing, but it's not. All right, that's the first ingredient. And when you're reading labels, the first ingredient is what the majority of that product is. As you move down the ingredient line, it's less and less of that product in it. Go ahead.
Okay, here's what they got as far as enriched cornmeal. Cornmeal, ferrosis, sulfate, niacin, thiamine.
Go ahead,
what is that? Mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid, vegetable oil, corn canola, and sunflower oil. Cheese seasoning. Okay, cheese seasoning is whey, cheddar cheese, milk, cheese culture, salt, enzyme. Canola oil is a maltodextrin.
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 Okay, one thing, when you see salt on a product, it's not real salt. It's sodium chloride. Salt is made of sodium chloride, but the salt, when you see it on a product or when you buy it in a store, they have processed it to a way that it's not in its natural form, and it's detrimental to you. What if you want salt? There's nothing wrong with salt if it's sea salt. That's what you want to buy, is sea salt. Table salt, it's a difference. When you see salt on the label, it's table salt. All right, go ahead.
It also says it's made from corn, salt, whey protein, concentrated monosodium glutamate.
Take heed of that. Monosodium glutamate. You'll also see it as MSG. It's used as a seasoning.
There you go.
All right. Now let me tell you a little bit about MSG. If it had MSG, you was wondering what they were talking about, huh? All right. The food additive MSG is a slow poison, which hides behind dozens of names, such as natural flavoring. So when you look at a label and it says natural flavoring, it usually has MSG in it. Yeast extract, autolyzed yeast extract, diosodium glycinate, disodium encinate, caseinate, textured protein, hydroxylazide P protein, and many others. Currently, labeling standards do not require MSG to be listed in the ingredient list. I'm gonna send y'all what I'm reading from. So you know what you're looking at when you go grocery shopping. Continue reading.
It says natural and artificial flavor.
Natural and artificial flavor. Let's look at that. Artificial flavors. Artificial flavors are derived from chemicals made in a laboratory and offer absolutely no nutritional value and are a magnet of processed foods. They show up in almost everything today, including bread, cereal, yogurt, soups, cocktail mixers, so they can be hard to avoid. Every single artificial flavor in the food industry has some kind of detrimental health effect. These are found in artificial raspberry flavored products such as cheap ice cream, Jell-O, candy, fruit flavored drinks, and yogurt. Matter of fact, one artificial flavor that they use is something called castrum, and it comes out of a beaver's behind. It's extracted from their anal gland and is used to make artificial raspberry flavoring. Try not to think about that next time you order the diet raspberry tea. So it's artificial flavoring. It's not real flavoring. I was watching the show when they were coming up with flavors, and they were mixing all of these chemicals with flash. They were wearing chemist white jackets. It was in a laboratory. And they was like, "This is," and they're swirling it around in the beaker. This is vanilla, just white chemical or clear chemical. They done mixed a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then they put it in our food and give it a vanilla taste. So beware when you see artificial sweeteners or artificial flavoring or natural flavoring.
Man.
Continue.
All right. It also says artificial flavor, lactic acid, what is that? Citric acid, artificial color,
artificial colors,
yellow 6, and salt.
All right, let's deal with these artificial colors. Food colorings still on the market are linked with cancer. Blue 1 and 2, found in beverages, candy, baked goods, and pet food, have been linked to cancer in mice. Red 3, used to dye cherries, fruit cocktail, candy, and baked goods, has been shown to cause thyroid tumors in rats. Green 3, added to candy beverages, has been linked to bladder cancer. The widely used yellow 6, added to, this has yellow 6 in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it said yellow 6.
Cheetos have yellow 6 in it. Added to beverages, sausages, gelatin, baked goods, and candy has been linked to tumors of the adrenal gland and kidney. Red dye number 40 is known to cause attention deficit, hyperactive disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, and obsessive compulsive disorder. Also suspected to cause certain birth defects and possibly cancer. You look on M&Ms, you probably see each one of those.
Yeah.
Because that's what they use to coat the candy. You can get M&Ms without all that if you go to like Whole Foods or one of those health food stores. Yeah. It's not as shiny as an M&M, and the color is not as bright and vibrant as an M&M, but it's good. It's chocolate covered candy or peanuts. All right, that's it on that, right?
Yeah, that's it on that.
All right, so here, this is your Cheetos compared to what you're eating now. How do you like what you're eating now? Can you give these up for those? All right.
Hey,
let's move on. So I'm at the upper, y'all. This is the upper. There's ways around what they're doing.
What was the name of that? We just ate.
Baby, what's the name of those Cheetos? Those cheese puffs? What's the name brand? Barbara's Cheese Puffs. Yeah. Auntie, can you bring it to Sister Sarah so she can see that bag? All right. This is Jif. Everybody know about Jif, right? All right. This is Smucker's. Okay. But the difference is, this is Smucker's Natural. Okay. You can buy Smucker's Natural or get in an organic form as well. I want you to read the ingredient. Well, let me get the prices on these first. All right. Jif is $2.59. That's what this peanut butter go for. This right here goes for $3.19. So we looking at a 50-cent difference. To get this in the organic, it's probably going to be $3.59. So you're looking at $1 difference between this organic and this. You can get this organic at Hy-Vee. You can get this right here at any grocery store and probably Walmart. This is called Smucker's Peanut Butter Natural. And what you'll see when you buy it is you'll see like a layer of oil on top of it. Because when you make peanut butter, that's what it does. It separates. But they add emulsifiers in here to keep it from separating because people don't want to see something floating on the top of their peanut butter because they don't know better. The first time I saw this, I thought something was wrong with it. I thought it needed to be taken off the shelf because it had oil sitting on top of it. But it just separated. All right? Read the ingredients in that.
Okay, the ingredients is peanuts. Contain 1% or less of salt. That's it.
What's the rest of the ingredients?
There's no more ingredients.
You mean peanut butter is only supposed to have peanuts in it?
Only peanuts.
Okay, well, what does this have in it?
All right. Let's see here. The ingredients. Made from roasted peanuts and sugar.
And sugar. Those are the #1 ingredients in this. Sugar and peanuts. Sugar is addictive. When you consume sugar, it does the same thing that a drug does mentally to you. That's why it's so hard to stop eating sweets. And it's detrimental to your health. A little sugar, everything in proportion is all right. But we consume way too much sugar. Go ahead.
Okay, it says made from roasted peanuts and sugar, contains 2% or less of molasses, fully hydrated vegetable oil.
Hydrated vegetable oil. Okay. Let's see about hydrated vegetable oil. See if I can find it. There it is. Hydrated oils. Fractionating or hydrogenated oil is a process most often used on palm and palm kernel oil that involves heating the oil, then cooling it quickly so that it breaks up into fractions, hence the name fractionated oil. The key thing is that the filtration process separates out most of the liquid part of the oil, leaving a high concentration of solid, unhealthy fat, behind which is terribly toxic for human consumption. Hydrogenated oils are oils that are often healthy in their natural state, but are quickly turned into poison through the manufacturing and processing they go under. They take these naturally healthy oils, such as palm kernel, soybean, corn oil, canola oil, or coconut oil, and they heat it anywhere from 500 to 1,000 degrees. They then become fantastic preservatives because all of the enzymatic activity in the oil has been neutralized during the hydrogenating process. Enzymes are good to help us break down our food. So the enzymes that are naturally there, they kill by when they heat it up so much. Hydrogenated oils are the closest thing you can get to plastic sludge running through your body. If you see hydrogenated anywhere on any ingredient list, run like the wind. So it's like eating plastic, liquid plastic. So is, by the way, is margarine.
Yes.
I was just gonna say, we gotta put this peanut butter on some bread, some enriched.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Then you putting it on some enriched bread. Exactly.
What kind of bread we need to get?
You need to. Wheat, I'm coming to realize, is an issue in itself as well. Before I start downing wheat, I want to study it some more. But if you're looking for bread, like the bread I get is, it's a 5-grain bread. But I'm at the point. I did a Daniel fast not too long ago, and when I came off of it, I just did not want to eat bread anymore. Like my body didn't have an urge for it. From what I understand, in wheat, there are some things that we shouldn't have. It's not the wheat that the Bible speaks of. It's become processed, and over time, it's a hybrid. The wheat that we have is a hybrid compared to what was in biblical day. But it's been mixed with other stuff. It's been genetically modified.
Yeah.
But before I start downing wheat, I want to research it a little more. All right.
What about flatbread?
Flatbread. Well, see, like I said, I don't want to go in on it right now because I don't want to say something that I have to come back later and change. Yes, can you pass those out? She's made some. Those are organic carrots and apples. It's a mixture of carrot and green apples. And that mixture together does something for your system to where it detoxes you as well as it really gives you nutrients and minerals and vitamins that you need. The juicer that she used is called the Juice Man. You can find them for like $60 online. You can get them used for like $30. We've had that for over 10 years and it's been going strong. You can get better juicers that cost more, but that's a good juicer. I have a juicer that's even better than that. But as you pay more, you get more for your dollar.
Or you can go to the thrift store.
Or you can go to a thrift store. Baby, do we have a knife or something over there?
Oh, let me finish saying the rest of the ingredients.
Oh, the rest of the ingredients. Go ahead.
Okay, the rest of the ingredients inside this is something called rapeseed.
Rapeseed is a poison.
Kind of close to saying rat seed, but let me be cool because this is on camera. And also it's got soybean, mono, and oglycerin, and salt.
Yeah,
so that mono's there also.
You got the mono and diglycerate. I don't even know what that is. I wasn't able to get a chance to research that, but I don't want it if I can get something that just got peanuts and salt in it.
Yeah. What you wanted was just peanuts and salt. That's
how do you like your juice? Yeah. And I saw I came in here with some carrots and some apples. I put it in the juicer, and this is what we get. All right, and so that's an alternative to buying these juices in the store because they say it has whatever kind of juice it is. It'll say it has that kind of concentrate. A concentrate is straight sugar, basically. All right. Oh, Bubba want one. Okay. So the point that I'm trying to make here, y'all, is even though there's so much out there that's detrimental to our health, we have alternatives. This peanut butter, I've been eating this peanut butter for some years now. I went down to my mom's house and she had some of this, and I was just looking for a snack. And I ate some of this, and I'm like, man, this stuff tastes ridiculous. It doesn't even taste like. This is so much better. I want to let y'all taste this. Do we have any containers left, babe? Can you serve up some good old natural peanut butter that's made of peanuts and salt?
Peanut or what?
Okay, you can. It's you can pour it, babe. It's liquefied enough. But yeah, there are some spoons over there too. What'd you say?
What's the
I can't think of the name of it. I'll ask her. I'll ask my wife when she comes back around.
Leaf that you can
Stevia. Stevia is one.
Or you go to the health food. Is it the health food store? Or you can go to the herbal store. They have what's called sweet leaf.
I'm gonna ask you in a second.
I'm
not familiar with that one, but I do know stevia. Like I had a plant of stevia in my backyard, and I take a leaf off of it and bite it, and it was sweet. It just had a sweet taste to it. My daughter used to go out there and eat off of it, and it's called stevia, and they use that out as an alternative sugar in a lot of more health conscious foods. Baby, what are some other alternatives to sugar?
Coconut palm sugar.
Coconut palm. What's the stuff we have at home?
Agave.
Agave.
But agave you want to use like really in moderation.
And what's raw honey? What's the brown type sugar we got?
That's coconut palm sugar.
Oh, coconut palm sugar. But there's another one.
Raw sugar, turbinado.
Yeah.
Turbinado.
Okay.
Turbinado is another one.
Sugar cane.
Turbinato. Huh? None of what she mentioned is white. It's all brown.
Yeah.
Sugar is originally brown. Cane sugar too, right, baby?
Cane sugar, unprocessed cane sugar.
Unprocessed cane sugar. Anything white you shouldn't be eating. Flour, white rice, white sugar, white bread. Huh?
Yeah.
White gravy. Well, it has.
It
depends on how it's made.
Made from your own chicken, you know.
What about rice?
White rice, you want to move towards brown rice. Anything white. Caraway seed?
That's more of a herb.
Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, caraway, yeah.
Have you heard of it, babe?
It's more of a
caraway
herb.
Seed?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an herb.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we have alternatives, y'all. My wife's going to bring around some peanut butter here in a second. Let's go to Matthew 5 and 6. Five and 6. You want some butter?
Matthew chapter 5, verse 6. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled.
All right. This is what's most important. Like we've addressed the physical man, but we ultimately need to hunger and thirst after righteousness. All right. Go to Matthew 4 and 4.
Matthew chapter 4, verse 4. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High.
So, bearing in mind, you know, that we have to tend to this physical body, because for the time being, it is the house of our soul as well as the Holy Spirit. But ultimately, we do not live by bread alone. All right, as Christ told Satan when he tempted him. So, with that being said, that's all I have today concerning this quick little health lesson, and hopefully maybe we can make this an ongoing thing to where, because there's so much more And we can come back to this and continue to deal with our physical man as well as our spiritual
man. Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, that's all I have for today. Are there any questions or comments?